Good morning, everybody. Back out here at Cleburne State Park. Gonna go for a little day hike. Hadn't been out here in a pretty good while. As you can see back here behind me, it almost looks a little fallish in the air, which it is fall, but definitely hasn't felt like it around here. It's been near record highs every day. We're almost all the way through October, and it's still been upper 80s, 90 degrees here every day. So I think we got a little bit of a front rolling in. I can see the clouds kind of clearing out behind us, so hopefully it's a beautiful morning. Going to be pretty windy today. Hopefully it doesn't mess up the audio too much, but going to get to hiking. Plan today is do at least 10 miles, maybe more. We'll see, and let's get to it. So I parked in the new parking lot. I showed, I think in the last video from out here, that they have probably the most popular trailhead is right over in this area. But I noticed since the last time I've come, they've cut a little section of trail right here, and I think this probably just connects into the pink trail. I'm gonna walk the road right up here and start right at the trail sign and start from there. I got a loop picked out that I do out here that's exactly 5 miles, so it's real easy for me to keep track of my mileage if I stay right on course. I think I may have showed this in my last day hike video up from out here, but I'm gonna show you my basic route. Is starting from here, come up here, cross the spillway, and then pretty much do a perimeter loop around State Park. Come down here, do this section of trail, include this tiny little piece over here over to the picnic area and back, and that is exactly 5 miles. So it's easy to get some 5-mile loops in and end up right back where we started. Looking pretty dry out here. It has been over a month that we have got no rain. We've got not one drop of rain in the month of October, but there is small chance of rain in the forecast, and hopefully we get some overnight tonight. Doubt it'll be enough to really get this flowing, but hopefully here over the next couple weeks get a good wet weather pattern and get Camp Creek flowing again. Not a great time to come if you're looking for waterfalls, but you can still see something cool out there in the rocks. There's some fossils if you look around. About bone dry. Just started walking through a ton of spider webs. That's definitely an indication you're at Cleburne State Park and that you're first one on the trail in the morning. Geocache right off the Coyote Run trail. I don't ever have this marked, but it's pretty easy to tell right when you get there. Kids always enjoy finding that. We'll find the same box over and over when they were little. They loved it every time. Yeah, trust me, you do not want to drink that water. See that spider right there? That web is huge. I could see that as I was walking down the trail. I'm real glad that one's not across the trail. So I've walked through several of those. Like I was saying a minute ago, that's just like a characteristic of Cleburne State Park. There's spider webs across the trail, especially if you're first out in the morning. So that is unfortunate to be first out, but I enjoy coming out here on weekdays when there's nobody else out here on trail. It's really nice. It's the backside of the Keyhole Loop campsites. We've stayed there a few times. Good thing about those sites is you have direct access to trails directly back behind your campsite, and it's a cool place for kids to run around back here because there's a lot of little, they're not canyons, but little drainages, and things like this for them to run through and explore. So this little drainage right here almost always has water in it. There's a trail, this is where I came from. Heading this way, almost always has water in it. It's usually fairly tough to keep your feet dry because there's no big rocks to step on. So you either get your feet wet or take your shoes off. Bone dry today. Just passed my first other hiker. She was coming back toward me, and good thing about that is, well, one, it's nice to see somebody else out here, but hopefully since she's been on this portion of the trail, she's taking care of all those spider webs for me. She also said that she moved a snake off the trail. That'd have been kind of cool to see. I never did see it as I've been walking. All right, so I just completed loop number 1. Just came out from right over there. Came up, that's where my truck is parked, right up that trail. Here we go, loop number 2. It's been 2 hours so far. Done a little over 5 miles with the little extra out and backs I've done, setting up camera and whatnot. So got a pretty good pace going. If I'm doing 5 miles every 2 hours, 2.5 miles per hour, that's a pretty good pace for me. And that's even with stopping a couple times to get snacks and tie my shoes and things like that. So pretty good pace. I'm happy with that. See if we can do it for loop number 2. Well, that was cool. Finally saw a snake out here. I don't think I've ever seen a snake at Cleburne State Park. And it's kind of wild. Is probably the last 4 or 5 times I've come out here to hike, I've seen different kinds of wildlife, stuff I don't normally see or something kind of out of the ordinary. So that's kind of cool. And right now I'm exactly on the opposite side of the park of where the lady I saw earlier said that she saw a snake on trail. So that's kind of cool. See the rat snake on trail, nothing to be afraid of. I just walked pretty much right over it. And anyway, cool to see something different on trail. Starting to get very dusty. Like I said, it hadn't rained in over a month, so I don't know if it's the lime plant next door or just the wind, but everything's got a little bit of a haze from the dust. According to Gaia, what I've looked at is I'm actually already over 10 miles for these 2 loops. So thinking the theoretical miles and then at least tracked by GPS with Gaia don't exactly line up. So I may be hiking slightly farther than 5 miles each loop, which is fine. I wouldn't want to come out less than 5 miles, so that's cool. I still have maybe a half mile or so to go though, so probably by the time I'm done with this hike, they end up, at least according to Gaia, with a mile more than what I had intended. All right, well, I just finished loop number 2, and this is the part of the trip where I couldn't decide if I'm going to keep going or not, but I think I'm going to take off again, try to make loop number 3. That last loop I did really good on time. So the first loop I did in about 2 hours, but I guess I had pretty good amount of time stopping, setting up the camera, mixing up some electrolytes, getting snacks, things like that, tying my shoes. So guess I had more downtime than what I had imagined. That last loop I did in an hour and a half, exact same amount of distance, so I didn't feel like I was hiking any harder. I guess it was just not stopping. But anyway, on to loop number 3 and see if we can knock out these last 5 miles. Oh yeah, I can see the dust from the lime plant over there. It's coming all from right there, making it super hazy out here. Definitely seems worse over on the far side, and that's where I was noticing it earlier. But even look across the lake, it seems very hazy out that direction. I've walked past this bench 3 times now. Still haven't taken the opportunity to sit down. That's one thing I've done so far on this hike, is I've just been hiking, haven't sat down or taken any real breaks besides just long enough to take my backpack off and maybe mix some electrolytes into my water bottle. So I'm feeling pretty good for basically getting up off the couch and coming out here. About halfway done with this last loop. Starting to feel it, getting fairly tired. My right knee has been hurting for at least half this hike. I've had problems with it ever since I was a kid, but usually doesn't bother me at all. And I just keep not thinking about how I'm feeling or anything, really just thinking about going to Sonic, or we got a place here in Cleburne called Morris Neal's. Thinking about stopping at one of those places and getting probably maybe a double cheeseburger, maybe a single. Definitely getting a cheeseburger and fries. A little reward for finishing this, if I finish, hopefully. Definitely a pretty big washout in the trail. You can see there's all the sediment that used to be there. I've had to hop across this all 3 times. Well, that's my truck back there behind me, and it'd be real easy just to cut across right over there and end this hike. I'm a little over 14 miles, I think, or at least on Gaia, so probably just under 14 theoretical miles. And yeah, that sounds nice to be done, but try to knock out this last mile or so. All right, just came out of the woods for the last time, at least on the main section of trail. Run over here and tag the picnic area, and then one little small section on the yellow trail back over to my truck, and I will be done. Well, there we go. That's 3 loops complete. I just have to walk 100 yards or maybe slightly more back to my truck. Heck yeah. Alright guys, so that pretty much does it for this trip. Super happy with the turnout. Got 3 loops in today. So as I've talked about throughout the video, that's theoretically, looking on the map, that's 5 miles a piece, so 15 miles. And I did that in 5 hours and 10 minutes. Gaia is saying that was exactly 16 miles. So going by that, I probably don't need to add on the little tail that I'm taking over to the picnic area and back. That would make it pretty close to right at 15 miles on Gaia. Anyway, super happy with the hike this morning. Glad to have got in 3 loops. Goal by the end of the year or sometime coming up throughout the winter is to get in 5 loops all in one day, maybe even all at one time. So that's where I'm headed at, hopefully. And just happy to be out here, happy to have gotten some trail time, happy to get those 3 loops in. And we'll see if we can't get it a little faster and maybe add a loop or 2 here before too long. If any of y'all come out here and do any variation of this loop or add in a couple loops, definitely let me know. I think it's kind of cool. Come up with something exactly at 5 miles and then just keep adding on to it. Anyways, thanks for following along, and I'll see y'all next time.